everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we begin our countdown of the top 50 matches in ECW history with match number 50 on our list, which is the six-man tag team match between Eddie Guerrero and the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner, against Dean Malenko, Too Cold Scorpio, and Cactus Jack from the August 22nd, 1995 edition of ECW Hardcore TV. This is a match that on paper is super weird, and it can only happen in ECW. So it's a really good representation for number 50 on our list. ECW 94, 95, 96. It seemed to be the place that wrestlers would make a pit stop on their way between WWF and WCW. And the Steiner brothers were a great example of that. Although they had this short run in ECW, it still feels super weird to see them in that ECW arena environment. They really don't fit, but it's still cool nonetheless. I love a good six-man tag. I think it is something that can be utilized so well in wrestling because you can interweave all of these different stories. You can do callbacks to previous matches or feuds. You can, highlight current feuds or programs, but you don't have to give away the farm with a six-man tag format. So this match is perfect because everybody gets to mingle with the other competitors of the match. You get a bunch of really cool, really fresh stuff, but you get those callbacks to previous matches as well. And if you're unfamiliar with ECW, you might think based on what you've read, years out that ECW is this, hardcore blood and guts promotion, the term that AEW's brought back to the forefront. Hell, it said blood and guts right on the ECW, ring apron for quite some time. But ECW had some incredible pro wrestling. This match, it has no gaga or gimmicks or, blood or guts or weapons or anything of that sort. It is just a good, straight up professional wrestling match. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Too Cold Scorpio, those guys in this era were very much the guys that brought, that quote-unquote work rate to ECW and made it something that for pure wrestling fans, it was really good to check out as well. This match was originally supposed to be Chris Benoit in for Cactus Jack's role. Benoit was injured in Japan. Raven came out and cut a promo that, watching 26 years later, doesn't sit super well, where he basically tells Too Cold Scorpio that I understand what your people went through and offers up Cactus Jack as a slave, towards Scorpio's team. Weird, but again, like I said in the introduction video for this season, we're going to let a lot of stuff go because of the time frame that it happened in. This match starts out with a one-on-one sequence between Dean Malenko and Scott Steiner that is superb. The mat work that these guys do that amateur style is so good, and it makes me sad that we never really got a true one-on-one match between these guys because I have no doubts that it would be super, super good. Taz is out at ringside with the baby faces. They had kind of established Taz and the Steiners as a little bit of a unit. They were really trying to legitimatize Taz. He was the Taz maniac. And then they transitioned him from that wild man character to this, shoot style kind of legitimate tough guy. He actually had his neck broken in a tag match with him and Eddie against Dean and Scorp. I don't know if he was originally supposed to be in this match or not, but he accompanied the faces to the ring with his neck brace on. So we got this super good opening between Scotty and Dean, and Scott, eventually he just hits a huge overhead belly-to-belly suplex on Dean, to let that power take advantage and show that the Steiners, they were the guys that were really going to take this match up to another level. We get a really good Scorpio and Eddie Guerrero sequence that was short, but it was just so good. These guys had a phenomenal match in Eddie Guerrero's ECW debut, where he won the TV title from Scorpio. They do a quick sequence. Guerrero won that match with basically like a reverse prawn hold roll up. He goes for that super early. Scorpio blocks it and Eddie turns it into an arm drag, which I thought was great. And you have to listen to the crowd reactions for Eddie Guerrero here. For a guy that was in ECW for such a short period, he was only there, about 4 months. The crowd is just so in love with him, and it really shows, Eddie Guerrero is this legendary figure that we all love and cherish, and it shows that even that early on into his career, he was so beloved, you know, especially by this audience. We get an extended Rick Steiner and Scorpio sequence that was great, and it leads to a huge spot where Scorpio goes for like a, you know, a Kurt Angle style run up belly to belly, and Rick just counters it into a bulldog off the top rope. That was gnarly. And, you know, I love this because, you know, the ECW crowd is that quote-unquote smart crowd, right, that doesn't follow the traditional conventions of pro wrestling. But when Rick is in the ring, they all start doing the, you know, the hoo, 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 like the dog bark for the dog face gremlin. And I just thought it was so, you know, genuine that these guys that think, you know, this crowd that thinks that they're, you know, head and shoulders above the rest of the wrestling fan universe, you know, they'll geek out and they'll mark out for wrestlers just the same, and, you know, do exactly what you would see on an episode of WCW or WWF, despite the fact, you know, that they you know, say that they're above that. So I thought that was really interesting, and it just felt genuine, and it endeared that audience to me a lot more than a lot of their, you know, smarky stuff would seem to do. Cactus Jack comes in and again adds another wrinkle to this. He's the brawler, right? He doesn't have the technical prowess of the other guys. So him and Rick, they trade fists, they go on the floor, and of course it's Cactus Jack, so you know he's going to take a gnarly bump, and Rick hits him with a side belly to belly on the you know, concrete floor. That was brutal. We get the Eddie Dean sequence. Smartly, we'd seen this match so many times throughout that spring and summer that they really didn't go too heavy on it. They had a really short exchange. Both guys went for their big moves. Eddie missed the frog splash, and that led to an extended heat sequence on Eddie Guerrero, where all of the heels got their time in the ring with him, cut off the tags, all of that good stuff that you want to see. And Eddie, of course, is such a good, fiery, sympathetic babyface that it really built up the heat well until we eventually get the big hot tag. Both Steiners come running in, and they destroy everybody. Rick hits a super belly-to-belly from the top onto Scorpio. Scott takes out Cactus Jack with a Tiger Driver. And we get this really awesome sequence of triple teams where both Steiners, you know, they prop up Scorpio for like a doomsday device, right? They have them both on their shoulders. And Eddie comes off the top and hits the clothesline, the doomsday device. Then they prop Cactus up, and Eddie goes up top and he hits a drop kick that knocks him off. Then they prop Dean up, and Eddie goes for a doomsday Rana. Keep in mind, 1995. If you watched my season 2 about TNA, I talked about Lynn and Red hitting the doomsday Rana, one of the cleanest it was ever hit. This was not clean. It's 95, but the fact that they went for such a maneuver is outrageous. Dean doesn't really flip off the bump for it, and they kind of crash down ugly, and Dean kind of takes a face plant off of it. But in something that I love, the ECW crowd is ruthless when it comes to botches. The UF'd up chant is famous. So right when the crowd is about to start letting these guys have it, Eddie Guerrero, in all of his infinite wisdom, proceeds to just look at the crowd and do, you know, the double fist pump, like, yeah, we got him. And the crowd completely shifts. There's no UF'd up chants. There's no boos. They start to cheer for Eddie Guerrero because that's their dude. And again, so many wrestlers, when they botch, they're like deers in the headlights, right? They just kind of freeze and they don't really know what to do. And that's where you get those awkward crowd reactions, especially in this era, especially from the ECW crowd. But Eddie Guerrero is so good. He was able to play it off like it was nothing, and it was awesome. That seems like it's going to be our finish, but Scorp saves. Steiners take Scorpio and Cactus out to the floor. We're left with Eddie and Dean, the rivalry that kind of brought us to the dance and is what caused this trios match. And just a great finish. Dean hits the same roll up on Eddie that Eddie used to win the TV title, and it's enough to keep Guerrero down for the 3 count. One would think that after these guys traded the TV title and had these matches back and forth all spring and summer in the Guerrero Malenko Classic, as it was coined, that it would lead to another match with these guys for the TV title, perhaps with 2 out of 3 falls rules, but we would later learn that both of these guys were on their way to WCW. Eddie Guerrero would quickly drop the TV title back to Too Cold Scorpio, and instead we would get the non-title final ECW match between Eddie and Dean, 2 out of 3 falls in their farewell. This match is so much fun. It's something that when you think ECW, you might not immediately, put your mind to, but it's this really weird, really awesome mix of all of these fantastic workers that are all, maybe the Steiners a little bit past their prime, but they're all pretty much in their peak prime of their careers, and they meet up in an absolutely memorable match. You can watch this match on the WWE Network. I'm assuming you can watch it on Peacock. I live in Canada, so thankfully I'm still able to watch the old school WWE Network and get everything. But like I've mentioned, you can track down ECW with the original music uncut if you look hard enough online. Check this match out. Please subscribe to the channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.